Can you hear me? Hey, angel of mercy, can you hear my cry? This world is heavy, so much to carry. Will you take it from me? I'm surrendering. Surrendering.
Oh my God, bravo! Oh my God, that was so beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another beautiful episode of Happiness from Within. I'm your host, Jeanette Prado. I'm beyond ecstatic for today's episode. I have an amazing, beautiful soul, Alyssa Degati. She is an amazing songwriter, singer, and she also overcame over 100 symptoms through medical medium protocols, and she's actually going to be sharing her story today. Hi, Alyssa. How are you today?
Hi, Jeanette. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump in. Take us back. Where are you from, Alyssa?
Originally from the countryside of New Jersey, but I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where I currently live.
That's beautiful. And what is it that inspires you to find your happiness from within?
I would say music. I mean, from as early as I can remember, music was always what lit me up and what sparks just utter joy and bliss, and like it just feels like God like channeling through my soul, and I consider myself just a divine instrument and a vessel for God to work through me and through this gift that I've been given. And so from as young as I can remember, music has been what is just like my greatest passion and happiness.
That is so beautiful. When did you start singing?
Oh gosh, I think before I could talk, probably around 2 or 3. And I was always performing, always putting on a show for family and friends wherever I could. And I also started learning piano at 3, and I was in dance, and I just loved the spotlight. And I wasn't ever quiet. I was just always singing and talking, but singing was just my greatest love.
That is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Music has been a part of your healing journey, and you've also gone through hell and high water with your health. Let's jump into that. Let's take us back. Where did these health issues start? How old were you?
So I didn't identify as really a sick child growing up, but I had chronic conditions from as early as 6 months old, and I had a ton of strep, which turned into UTIs and strep throat and really bad lung and sinus infections and pneumonia and bronchitis. And so I had my tonsils out when I was 4 because I was just so sick, and antibiotics, just never helped. And so I did a lot of breathing treatments. I had asthma and wheezing and was really underweight. And then I started my cycle when I was 9. And then with that came so many symptoms. I started gaining weight. I started developing acne on my back, my chest, chronic constipation. My cycle was debilitating with cramps and hot flashes. Yes, as early as 9. So many things, acid reflux, just so many things. And then on top of that, I still had all the chronic strep. with, I was just sick multiple times a year with sinus infections, which would always turn into pneumonia, bronchitis situation. I developed food allergies and seasonal allergies. And so I was on all these medications really young, and was just always at doctors. And then when I was in high school, my symptoms with my periods just started getting worse and worse. And I ended up seeing an oncologist because they thought maybe I had cancer, uterine cancer, or they thought that they found a tumor which was causing my pain and my conditions hormonally. And up until this point, I had already been to like hundreds of doctors, specialists, dermatologists, like you name it. I had been for everything done. Dieted, yo-yo dieted since I was 12, developed an eating disorder because of the weight gain and everything. But when I was in high school, I went to the oncologist. They ended up ruling out cancerous tumor, but they landed on ovarian cysts. And they didn't want to do surgery because I was so young. And the fact that I had all of these other hormonal symptoms, they thought, well, we're going to prescribe you birth control. And this will help everything. And so I was desperate at that point for relief. And so I went on the birth control pill. And within a matter of months, I woke up in the middle of the night with excruciating back pain, chest pain. And I came downstairs the next morning and told my mom, and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack, Mom. And she called the pediatrician, and I went to my doctor, and they just thought it was viral inflammation of the lungs. They didn't know. And I went to the hospital, and I had several tests done, and everything came back clear. And so I went home, went back to school, and I tried to just forget about it. But the pain was so debilitating, and I couldn't get relief from it no matter what I did. I was popping like 10 Advil around the clock just to try to take the edge off, and nothing did. And it just kept getting worse. Back, chest, almost felt like stabby gas pains, crampy. It's hard to describe, but I was someone that really didn't ever complain of pain. I had a high pain tolerance, and I was already used to kind of suffering so much. So I didn't ever complain, but this was just beyond anything I've ever experienced. And I went on a week misdiagnosed with this pain. And, on the 7th day, I'm blue, and my lips are blue, my face is white. I can't even hold up a spoon to eat my breakfast. And I begged my mom to just let me stay home, to just try to find relief. And she called the doctor again, and he started to say that we needed to go back to the hospital because something didn't feel right. And I was begging my mom to let me stay home because I didn't want to go sit at the hospital for hours and wait for more tests. I remember thinking, I'm not dying. I already got clear tests, so I don't want to go and sit there and wait. And my mom was even fighting the doctor because she was just trying to help me find comfort. And he was like, I'm begging you to go. I've already called ahead. And so we went back to the hospital, and I was there for hours, and they ran all these other tests. And finally, they discovered that I had pulmonary embolisms, which was blood clots in my lungs, and I was 17. And from there, my world really flipped upside down.
It's really hard not to hold back tears. That's really crazy. I just want to honor you and celebrate you. I mean, wow, look how far you've come, Alyssa.
Thank you.
I can't hold back my tears. It's just.
Thank you for your tears. Thank you.
It's so beautiful. The whole mission here at Happiness from Within is to touch people's hearts and souls at a very deep level through interviews. And your story is just that. And I'm excited for you to play a song a little bit later after we hear your story. We can hear your beautiful, beautiful voice.
Yes.
So here we are at this moment. You're 17, correct, at this point?
Correct. 17.
So what happens after this? You're in this dark moment. What happens after this?
Well, it was totally and utterly surreal. I was in total shock. I was admitted into the hospital, and I remember saying to the ER doctor, "Doc, am I going to die? Are you going to save me?" And he just looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, I'm going to do everything in my power. And I later found out that it was a miracle that I survived going that long, because most people don't get that long at all. And then when the way they treat that, they can't just go in and really surgically remove it. So they start pumping you with blood thinners, but they can't give you too much. It was just sort of a waiting game to see if the clots would dissolve and break up and in time. I just lost my train of thought.
Take your time. Take your time.
Did you ever just go blank?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The beautiful thing's gonna come right now through spirit to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just totally lost my train of thought, but it was a good one.
No problem.
Yeah, it was just a waiting game to see if the clots would dissolve, and I underwent so many tests. The specialists were trying to figure out if I had something hereditary, genetic, and they couldn't find anything, any cause, any reasoning. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, the only thing new here that I added in was this hormone, this birth control pill. And I've seen the commercials, and I know that they say it can cause blood clots and strokes. And so I asked all my specialists and doctors, and they all were very adamant that that was not what caused this, that the risk was too low, the percentage was too low, and that they turned it back on that it was my body, that it was something within my body that was faulty. And mind you, I didn't have just one blood clot. Like my lungs, both lungs were full of clots. So it's truly like remarkable, unbelievable that I did survive this. And so I'm in the hospital going through all these tests, and I'm still in excruciating pain because there is no medication that can even take the edge off. I mean, they tried everything, morphine, nothing was cutting it. So it was just sort of a waiting game. And I was deeply traumatized, but I didn't realize it. I think I was just in survival mode, trying to be tough and strong. And I just had no answers. And once I left the hospital, I had to give myself shots in the stomach twice a day as the clots continued to develop. And I was in and out of specialists, hematologists, doctors weekly, getting a crazy amount of blood draws and just trying to figure out why and check levels. And they sort of landed on a lupus. It wasn't an official diagnosis, but an autoimmune disorder that could have caused this, because I had some of the symptoms, but my thyroid was maybe a little bit sick. But it was just really confusing. And I just remember I had already thought at this point that my body was faulty and that I had bad genes, just because I already struggled with weight and acne and things that just sort of plagued me from a young age. But now I really was like, well, great. It just must be my body, and my body's attacking itself. And they put this fear into me that I'm really high risk now. And if I ever chose to have babies someday, or if I wanted to fly on a plane for long hours, or if I smoked or whatever, that I would be severely at risk. And so it just, I don't know, I was changed in that moment. And I feel like the trauma was brewing, but it didn't catch up with me until 2 years later. It sort of all came to a head. So I ended up moving back out to California, because all the while, since I was 12, I was professionally pursuing my music. And I realized that I was given a second chance at life surviving the blood clots. And so I could keep the safe route and just stay close to home and close to my family and just go to college and get a real job, or I could go follow my dreams and follow my heart. And so I went back out to LA and I started working on living my dreams. And it was about 2 years later that panic attacks started happening, and they came in like a wrecking ball. And I had no idea what was happening, but they were straight torture. And I landed back in the hospital several times, and it just got to the point where it was sort of taking over my life. And I had to make the impossible choice to leave it all behind and move back home. And that was incredibly soul crushing. And I hit my first like massive depression because it was me having to give up my greatest life's dreams and passions and everything I worked so hard for. And it was just trying to wrap my head around, how am I going to go on with my life? What am I going to do? There's nothing else I'm good at. I've worked for this more than half my life, given all my time, energy, and passion to this. And now what? There's just nothing else that I want to do. So it was really, really sad. And at this point, the anxiety and the depression are just building. And at this point, I was 21.
Really super young. Wow. So you're 21 and you're back at home. What happens at this point?
So I don't want to go to college. There's nothing else that I want to do. I'm having a really hard time accepting what my life is becoming because it's nothing that I had hoped or planned or envisioned. And so I went back to my doctor, and she prescribed my anti-anxiety, antidepressant medication for the first time because she thought, you're having a hard time transitioning in life, and this would just get you over the hump. I was told that this would just be for a few months, because I didn't really want to take medication. I was already had a pill case, taking medicine for everything else. But I thought, okay, well, maybe this is the answer. So I went on an antidepressant, and a few months turned into a year, and I would still get sick multiple times a year with the sinus infections. And so a few months later, or I guess close to a year later, I went back to a different doctor. It wasn't my regular doctor, for an antibiotic for this sinus infection. And when I went to fill the prescription, the pharmacist said, I can't give this to you because with the other medication that you're on, this will cause a really deadly side effect. Like, we're talking a heart attack side effect. And so that terrified me. She said, I don't know what your doctor is thinking, but we got to like get you a different something else. And so I was upset. And so contacted the doctor again. And long story short, that happened 3 times with that doctor, not looking at my chart and with the interactions. And so I was fed up, and I was like, why am I even on this? I was told it was supposed to be 3 months. I don't want to be on this. And so I told this to that doctor, and he said, well, then just stop. So I didn't know you're supposed to wean off of these sort of medications. And so I stopped cold turkey, and I was in for another rude awakening, and was just miserable. And that was so brutal to just stop, and really dangerous. And I swore I would never go back on it. Well, life continued to happen, and I just continued to get sicker and sicker. And at this point, I decided to go to cosmetology school because that's the only thing I can sort of wrap my head around as another creative outlet. I'm not going to be sitting in a cubicle and just bored, and I needed to do something where I still felt free and I could just have that outlet to express myself. And I loved hair and makeup, and so that made sense. But it's a very, very toxic career. And so my lifestyle just grew more toxic, and I was just getting sicker and sicker. And so then one day, mysteriously, I just suddenly can't swallow. I lose the ability to completely swallow. And it's not like my throat was swelling shut or anything. It was just, I didn't know how to describe it. It was just like I lost the functioning where my brain says chew your food and swallow. And it was beyond terrifying. And I went back to doctors and specialists and had several tests done. And they said it was all in my head, and that it was just the anxiety, and that there was nothing there. And that was terrifying because that felt really scary. And I wanted an answer. I wanted something. I wanted to have a disease, because then there might be a way to heal, or there might be something to help. But that wasn't the case. And so I went back on antidepressants again, and that sort of helped, maybe this much. But in that moment, it was like someone flipped a switch in my brain, and I was just never the same. And something as simple as eating is like breathing. We don't think about it every swallow. And I became so hyper aware and focused, and it was just straight torture to eat and drink. And so I sort of went on like that. But then it turned into, so then I got to the point where I was like, I'm ready to come off of this again. I was starting to become more conscious of my lifestyle and energy healing. And I just thought, I don't want to be, I'm so young. I'm only 24, 25. I don't want to be on all these medications, and I'm feeling okay. And I was just trying to cope with the swallowing, but it was definitely still there. But anyway, I weaned off the medication this time, and within a matter of months, everything hit with a vengeance. And I choked so bad this time, physically choked, that I developed a phobia now of swallowing. I had a complete nervous breakdown. I became agoraphobic. I could not function. I couldn't leave my room. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't drive. Felt like I was having seizures. If I was around people or driving, it was like my brain short circuiting, and it felt like I had no skin. Every nerve was exposed, and I'm being electrocuted or like struck by lightning. It was just that intense. It's hard to describe, but and I can't function. I can't drink water. I can't eat food. The doctors put me on Ensure shakes to live on forever. And I can't work. I lose boyfriends and relationships and family members. And at this point, like my will to live and all my hope, because at this point I had tried everything, and it had been years. And I had tried all the energy healing and the past life regressions and every pharmaceutical at this point, every modality you can think of, the positive affirmations, the rewiring my brain, everything. And hired all the life coaches and saw every specialist. And I just truly felt so alone, because nobody of all those people that I had encountered and all the research that I'd done, I couldn't find a soul that could relate or empathize, or that had lived through this or experienced this. And that was the worst part, is feeling so alone and feeling like I didn't even know how to explain what was going wrong. And I felt crazy, because the doctors were like, it's all in your head. Physically, there's nothing wrong. Everything seems fine. But I knew like I wasn't okay. And I just started wasting away and starving to death, and really just had no support. And so I just prayed to die every day, and prayed for relief, because I just couldn't imagine how I would get through every single day of my life, when every move that I took, every step I took, everything was such a struggle, straight torture, and I wasn't living. So I just didn't want to be here anymore. And I was praying for that, or a miracle for the right person that could help me. And I get chills. And that's when I came across Anthony Williams' first book, Medical Medium, The Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illness and How to Finally Heal. And I knew in that second that I had found my answer. I just knew. I've never experienced such a profound moment of truth within my body and my cells. It was just this absolute knowing. And I couldn't get that book fast enough. And as soon as I did, simultaneously, I found one of his podcasts on anxiety, and I was playing his voice and I was reading the book, and I was just sobbing with relief and with gratitude, because I just had hope restored into my being for the first time, which felt completely impossible. And it was as if I was talking to God. Like my every prayer, intimate prayer, was I was talking, relating to God. And it was as if Anthony had known me my whole life, and I, for the first time, felt seen and understood and acknowledged and validated, which I never got. And those things in and of itself are so profoundly healing. And so even though I didn't know physically what I had to do yet, that healed something within my spirit and soul enough to move forward until I learned and studied the information. I couldn't put the book down, and realize that there was hope, there was a way out, and that I could heal, and that my body was not attacking itself, and that I could overcome this. And someone believed in me for the first time, and I could do it. And so I didn't own a juicer at the time, but I read that celery juice was going to be something really important and critical for me on my journey. And mind you, at this point, I'm not swallowing. So I was like, how am I going to get this down? Not to mention, I hated celery my whole life. And so I was like, oh, gross, but I will do anything. So I found my way to a juice bar and got my first celery juice. And from that day on, it's been 4 years, and it's been the most remarkable, beautiful, incredibly painful, challenging, amazing healing journey. And honestly, I wouldn't trade my journey for the world. It's been just totally miraculous, and I'm so grateful.
Well, let's talk about, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Anthony William. Let me grab his book really quick. Give me 1 second, okay? So I can show the audience. Hold
Okay.
on. So I know he has different books. He has different books, but let's talk a little bit about medical medium, because everybody that's listening doesn't necessarily know who he is. So for those of you that are listening, you're like, who is the amazing Anthony William, also known as medical medium? So he is the one that started the whole celery juice movement. And he's been talking about the benefits of celery juice. And for the past 30 years, he's way above science. He gets to the root cause of what the issue is for chronic illness, period. And it's interesting, in one of his episodes that he did not that long ago, he was talking about how some of the top spiritual people in the world come to see him. He didn't say names. The names aren't important, but the fact that they were having aches and pains and acne, and they went to see him and they've started to heal their bodies. So it was interesting what you were saying about the spirituality. Not that spirituality doesn't work. Yes, it does. But what is the food that we're putting in our mouth? It's amazing about, again, Anthony.
Absolutely. It's not just one.
Go ahead, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not just one thing. And all of those things are valuable and help. But there is something, I mean, for me, in my experience, I got to a point where I had tried all those things and it still wasn't helping or addressing what was physically going wrong in my body. And I didn't know. I didn't have answers from anyone. And I didn't have that wisdom and knowledge until I came across Anthony's work. And that's what medical medium information is. It's a wealth, an endless wealth of knowledge and wisdom, but it's answers for whatever ails you, for things that I had my whole life, things that I never told anyone about, and things that people knew, and common things and unique things. And that is just, I think, the greatest gift that God could give us through Anthony, because I mean, it's just saving so many lives. And yeah, it's so amazing.
Absolutely. I just want to add to what you're saying. Basically, I won't go into everything, but basically what Anthony Williams talks about is that we all have heavy metals in our body. There's pathogens in the body, and most of us have a sluggish liver. And to get to the root of a lot of these issues, and I encourage you guys to please check out his book. He also has an amazing Instagram. You can get a lot of great information and see the stories. But in his book, Cleanse to Heal, which was one of his new books that came out recently, you can literally look up any ailment and it'll tell you like what supplements to take. And it gets to the root of the cause. So let's jump back into your story. Thank you for letting me share that. Just wanted to give a background of. So you start to take celery juice, and then when do you start to feel benefits? Because the healing is different for all of us, right?
Right. And I was truly on my deathbed. So to be honest, I had to crawl my way out of this hellhole. And I started to, there was something, just the power of celery juice. I think when like that first drink, I definitely felt like, okay, this is doing something. I physically felt tingles, but I just felt it in my soul that this was, because I believed in it and I felt empowered. And And I knew when you have the answers and you know, okay, what's actually causing all these symptoms that have been killing me, but then like knowing why and what can help that is just so empowering. And so I started to improve, like some things remarkably fast and other things took an incredibly long time. And for me, my nervous system was really, really sick, and our nerves just take such a long time to heal. And so I never had a doubt in my being that this wasn't my path. And I was devoted and committed and am for life to however long it takes to heal whatever. And so like from my skin, which something that plagued me for decades. I mean, that doesn't just heal overnight. And so I think it improved like instantly, but then it had to get worse before it got better. And that took time. And other things healed really, like my acid reflux, my constipation, those things that were chronic for decades, they healed like almost instantly. But acne and other things did take longer. And it's a journey. It's not always just a linear journey. It's sometimes 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And it just takes perseverance and faith, incredible amount of trust. And but I was committed. And so I did the celery juice. I immediately cut out the no foods, the main no foods. And I was slow. I had to work my way into the heavy metal detox smoothie because at first it was just not as palatable. Now that's crazy to me because I'm so obsessed with it. I would drink it 20 times a day. I love it. And I don't miss a day. But it was a slow and perfect journey for me for where I was and for the information that I could absorb at that time. And even now, I mean, I have every book and I've studied every podcast, every book, every piece of information he graciously gives us. And it's still like the first time I'm reading it or absorbing it. It's just, you learn something new and it just doesn't ever end, which is so beautiful. And so you can really choose how far and how deep you want to go. And so for me, I think if I just jumped in to the extreme initially, that might not have been good for me, but it's all been a perfect timeline. And I really feel like when Liver Rescue came out, I did my first 369 cleanse, and that really moved the needle on so many things. That's when I really felt like, okay, my skin really healing. And it was fast from that point. And my weight started to shift and so many things that were just stubborn move forward. And then when Cleanse to Heal came out, and then I decided to completely cut out all fats, all overt fats from my diet. And I was eating more raw, plant-based, and doing the heavy metal detox smoothie every day and the celery juice. And I upped the dose on that and upped my supplementation, all the things that I was doing, a steady build. But I really noticed a difference when I eliminated fats big time. That took me furthest and deepest and fast. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you hear me okay?
It is. I can.
Okay, perfect. Wow. I just wanted to add to what you were saying about the nerve damage.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through a lot of chronic things like you did. People think that you can't heal nerve damage. I remember when I had my 3rd knee surgery, and after that, like the nerves in my left hand, like I can't feel a certain part of my knee, but I can still walk, right? When I read medical medium though, he says in there, you can heal nerve damage. I'm like, that is freaking awesome. And it explained the inflammation. And I was like, wow, this is like a miracle from above. And he gives hope to people don't have the answers,
Totally. And it's such a personal journey. For some people, they heal in 3 to 6 months. Other people, it might take 10 years, but we all have different viral loads and heavy metals and different, we're all the same, but it's unique in that way. And we have our own emotional trauma and soul wounding. And I sort of had all of it to the extreme. I had a lot of like emotional wounding and trauma on top of a really high viral load and heavy metals. And so it was sort of the perfect storm. And but from day one of finding medical media information, I was constantly improving. Even if there was what felt like a setback, there were things that were so encouraging that just kept me moving forward. And it didn't matter if I was like stuck at some point or plateauing or just feeling like, I mean, it was really, really hard at times, but it just gives you this strength and this soul's gold that truly, like, it makes a warrior out of you. And that's what's so beautiful about this healing community, a medical medium community, is it really feels like family, because there's just this understanding and this belonging between everyone, because everyone gets it, and you really don't understand unless you lived it, you know. And so it's just such a beautiful, compassionate, supportive space of people that have come together and that are like, or everyone's healing, and it's like wildfire spreading, and it's so amazing to see. And I'm honored to be a part of this community. I'm so deeply honored and grateful and inspired.
It's a beautiful group of people that understand what it really means to have pain, you know, and it's just people really understanding each other at a deep level and supporting this
Yeah.
amazing, amazing human being, Anthony Williams. He's got one of the most beautiful hearts that I've ever seen. And it's really interesting because he definitely talks about the food, but I love in his books how he also talks about, you know, angels that you can call upon. And I'm hoping you can sing Angel of Mercy for us. You
I
guys,
would love to.
those of you listening or watching this, so Alyssa created a beautiful, beautiful, amazing song called Angel of Mercy. And in which book is it? Is it, I think, is it this
It's
book?
the first book.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is
it's
the
the
first
first
book.
book.
Okay. Yeah, he talks about different angels, one of them being the Angel of Mercy. And Alyssa created a beautiful, beautiful song on the Angel of Mercy. And when you guys hear the song, you're literally going to cry. There's just no way that it's going to touch your heart and soul at such a deep level. Like, you're just going to want to listen to the song over and over. And those of you that are listening, I'm going to put the link below. Please, please, please support Alyssa. Please, please, please go download the song right now and follow her on Spotify, all major platforms, and support this amazing artist, because it's support of you guys, each and every one of you downloading this, that helps to spread her beautiful message. So you can do that first. Go download the song and follow her, so that way you can get updates on her other songs. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
absolutely, absolutely. Have to support the artist.
It is important. It's important. And I'm just so honored. When I first found the book, I read the whole book cover to cover, like I was up all night, but I was really touched and moved by the angels chapter. He talks about the essential angels at the back of the book. And I just immediately was like, oh, I felt the support, the angelic support. And an important thing to note is that when I moved back from California, and in this time span of, I don't know, maybe 6 years of just getting really, really ill and my life turning upside down, I had quit music. I wasn't even singing in the shower. I mean, I completely closed myself off to music, which was really devastating. And I thought I found peace in my heart, and it was just sort of walls that went up because I was so sad and hurt. And as I was getting sicker and sicker and more desperate, music was really like, when I had nothing else, music was the one thing that was my friend, was my blanket of hope and my comfort, and the one thing that really kept me going. And I had started, like, right before I found medical medium, I was writing all these affirmations in my journal to try to rewire my thoughts. And I decided to sit down at the piano for the first time in all of these years and just see if I knew the power of music and how it could amplify words. And I thought, maybe I'll do anything. Maybe this will help amplify my affirmations and help me to heal. And so I would write these affirmation songs, and they would truly soothe my soul when I was having the panic attacks and moments like that. And so then I fast forward to finding medical medium, and I read the Essential Angels chapter, and Angel of Mercy was number one. And I just knew I was that desperate, and she is the angel to call on at your most desperate hour. And so I sat down at the piano and I just was like in this complete surrender because I had nowhere else to turn, and I just started to pray, and out came this song within a matter of minutes. And I was something healed within me in that moment, but I was really blown away because it didn't feel like me. Even now, it's like hard to take credit because I truly believe and feel like it's God that was just working through me and speaking to me and healing me through this song and the power of his angel of mercy. And I just had this dream. It was like a flash in that moment of, wow, like, one, I wish that I could thank Anthony for providing these resources and tools and this gift. But how amazing would it be if someone else that was sick and suffering, knowing how alone I had felt and been, if this could help someone else, because I felt the power in that song. And then quickly that thought dissolved and I just closed myself back off to it. But it's been an incredible journey of how I've gotten here. And now the world does get to hear this prayer and this song. And I'm so humbled and I'm so eternally grateful just to share this music and this powerful healing tool. And I hope that it touches whomever listens, and brings hope and comfort to their soul as well.
So before you sing, I just to go back for a second. So I know you had stopped playing music and you went into cosmetology. How old were you at this point again? And then how old are you when you started singing again, going back to music?
I was 22 when I went to beauty school.
Uh-huh.
And then when I found medical medium, I was 26.
Oh, wow. So a lot of years passed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is. It's mind blowing.
Wow. 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 Before you sing, I'm so sorry. I just want to ask these people to not make any noise. Just give me 2 seconds.
No, it's okay. It's totally okay.
2 seconds. Hi.
Hi. Oh, look at
Thank you so much for. Okay.
I hope this sounds okay because I'm not mic'd up. So I hope that, should we do a test really quick of just a couple bars to see if you can hear me in the volume of the piano?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. If I'm being honest, I've been feeling hopeless. It's dark and it calls you. Sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear the fireworks?
No, I don't hear the fireworks. No.
Okay. Should I just go into it or?
Yes, whenever you're ready, just take your time.
Okay. If I'm being honest, I've been feeling hopeless. It's dark and cold here. Too much to feel. I don't want to do this on my own, and I'm scared of being alone. Hey, angel of mercy, take it from me. It's hard to see end of the road when all I see is the end of the road. And I know it gets better in time, but I feel so blind. I don't want to fight this anymore. Everything feels unsure. Hey, angel of mercy, can you hear my cry? This world is heavy, so much to carry. Will you take it from me? Surrendering. Can you hear me? 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 Hey, angel of mercy, can you hear my cry? This world is heavy, so much to carry. Will you take it from me? Surrendering. Surrendering.
Oh my God, bravo! Oh my God, so beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Your music
Thank you.
is going to be known around the world. Every soul is going to listen to your music. I'm just putting that out there. You are such a unique, beautiful, special soul with so much to give to others. I'm just beyond grateful to share this moment with you. So honored to have you here on Happiness
So
from
honored. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story and my voice and my music and my heart. Thank you for listening and holding beautiful, sacred space. And I'm so honored to be here with you. And thank you.
Absolutely. I want to wish you a safe and beautiful 4th of July, wherever you
Thank
go,
you.
wherever you stay. And yeah, this concludes the unless if there's anything you want to share on your heart to end, I'll leave it up to you, completely up to you.
I feel complete. I'm just really grateful.
Okay.
This was fun.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely let you know when the interview comes out. It'll be coming out probably in the next month or so. I have to get a few things edited, but yeah.
I can't wait. I hope it turns out well with the sound and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna come out perfect.
It is.
Definitely we'll do like a round 2 or something. I'm telling you.
Oh, that would be so fun.
I'll fly to Texas. I don't care. I'll fly over there. Get a film crew. We'll do it.
You're so amazing, Jeanette, and you're such a beautiful interviewer. Because that's the word. Like, you're really, really beautiful at this. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I received that. Well, have a great weekend, and I'll
You
see
too,
you
dear.
on social media. Okay. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Thank you, Jeanette.
You're
Take
welcome.
care.
Have a beautiful day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.